everything we do, the technology, the inventions, all of that will be worthless without people. When I talk with my friends and then share those tips, they try it out, it works for them. And then that was when I realized there was something there. Well, I can do this without people. No, you can't. You're here because of people. Everything we do, whatever, how great you become, it is worthless if there are no people to experience that with you.
We all know it's $1 trillion industry and it's not going
Yeah.
anywhere. And where do you see your coaching business, your level of service in the next 5 years? What does it mean for you to be a conscious leader? Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Conscious Leader Podcast, where I introduce leaders who are consciously leading in their industry. They're revolutionizing it consciously. Now, if you are new to the channel, welcome. And if you happen to like this specific episode, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Today, I have a very special guest with me. His name is Wilson Obeneme. I hope I pronounced it correctly. And hello, Wilson. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Lisa. It's nice to be on the podcast.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here, and it's wonderful for you to be here. Please share with the audience who you are, who you serve, and how you are positively influencing the lives around you.
Oh, wonderful. And hello, everyone. Nice to be on the show today and just talk about what I do. So, my name is Wilson Obeneme. I'm a digitalization expert in the energy industry, but outside of that, I am a productivity coach. And this is where I get to do most of my work, where I actively work with people to, I'll say, unlock their potentials, right? One thing I truly believe is everyone has something to offer. Whatever level we find ourselves, there's always more we can do. There's more we can uncover about ourselves and more we can reach out to our community to influence things. So for me, I am very passionate about helping people discover themselves, come up with systems, not just emotional, but real systems to help them consistently be their best selves, to consistently produce the kind of results they want. I've been doing this for a couple, yeah, from my early days, I would say. I've always been someone who talk to people. I had a conversation earlier today, and I was just explaining that I grew up in church. And for those who know what that means, you start networking and start talking to people from a very young age. Yeah, and because it's a community that just helps people share love within ourselves in a certain way, encourage people. So I noticed from a young age, I could talk to people and get them think in a positive light. So I'll say unofficially, that was where my drive to start helping people do this actually started.
Yes. And you mentioned your faith,
Yeah.
and we will talk about what you do, but the fact that you mentioned unofficially that your desire, your need to be of service,
Yeah.
as well as not only the need to be of service, but the realization that you are positively influencing people, even as a young boy, young man, teenager, now you're adult, grown man, but it started then, and it came from your time in the church.
Yeah.
How has your faith guided you through your journey to where you are right now as a
Mm.
coach?
Uh, if I say I can't, I don't think I don't know if I would have been able to do what I do without the faith aspect of things, to be honest. Because I know different people have different beliefs about faith, and I'm not here to judge if you're correct or not correct. This is me stating my experience. It's been a fundamental aspect of my life. It has been that guiding light towards what I how I see life, like through the lens of my faith in Christ, right? After reading and understanding, and this thing, I think it takes a while. It took me a while to fully understand what it meant to actually be a Christian, not just something you say because you want to sound be part of a community, but because you have a relationship and understanding. So by the time I got into that phase, I think it just opened my mind to a lot of possibilities and uh, a life beyond just myself, right? The faith I understand is a life of service, is a life of giving, whatever it is that is deposited in you to just make people benefit from it. You are in a good and sound mind, and then from that you can extend to other people, right? A lot of people are yet to discover certain aspects of their lives, and if you can help them point them in the right direction, for me, I'm all in because I feel by the time they get it right, they will also do that for someone else. And imagine if we just go through that network of you helping one person, the person helping the next. I think the world will be a better place. It might not solve all our problems, but a far better place than what we
Far
currently have.
better
So,
place, right? Oh, help
yeah,
one, each one help one. That's it. Um,
exactly. One at a time.
that's it. Don't try to solve the whole world's problems
No.
today. Take the time. You can't do it yourself. It is a process. You talked about learning,
Yeah.
reading, understanding. You didn't use the word discipline. I'm going to use the word discipline. So essentially, you had to discipline yourself to understand your belief
Yep.
to ensure that when you implement it in your life, is this going to work or not? Am I getting this correct?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay,
Because if you if yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. No, please go ahead.
No, no, I wanted to mention that if you don't even believe or understand what you talk about, I don't think it holds any foundation. So before you come out to actually say something, I think you should understand it for yourself and then experiment as well. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then you should be careful. Don't make claims of things you're not sure of or things you haven't tried.
I agree 100%. We have too many Googleified
Mm-hmm.
experts that have zero understanding about the industry that they're in, nor do they have the experience, far less the academics. Even if you don't have the experience, they can say, okay, you have the academics. Some people have nothing, but they've Googleized themselves,
Yeah.
sadly, to become an expert. So, with that discipline in understanding what it is that you believe, how did you transition to now thinking, coach, I'm meant to serve as a coach? Please share with us that process, that journey, because you have to take the discipline and consistency to start implementing it. Yes?
No, indeed. So for me, when I started my journey of, I'll say, self-discovery, because I think every coach had to go through that at some point. Yeah, that's one thing your coach should tell you, how they even found themselves to be in that space where they get to coach people. And you often find out that they also had to go through a journey where they had to rely on people as well to help them uncover themselves. So, yeah, while I was doing so well in my job, which I'm really grateful for, my career and all of that, I just knew I wanted to do something a bit with more impact, right? I learned a couple of things I was implementing for myself. It was working out. When I talk with my friends and then share those tips, they try it out, it works for them. And then that was when I realized there was something there,
Mm.
right? So it's not just bringing in so much information, but you're actually giving people resources and guiding them. And obviously, there's a difference between being a manager, a mentor, a coach. So it was me actually coaching them unofficially. And
Mhm.
then I started seeing the results. I was like, okay, maybe I should look into this a bit more. And I remember going for a conference with my team where I work, and I had to speak on something we do. And someone reached out to me, and the person was like, have you considered coaching people? I know you're talking about technology, but things you're saying is not just technology, it's affecting the mind. Like I got so much from what you were saying. In fact, that person recommended I start a podcast. And that was one of the reasons I started a podcast.
Mhm.
Right. And by the time I noticed that each time I go and have these conversations, it wasn't just about the technology, which I love, but it's because it's all about humans. It's all about people, how they perceive, how we improve. I think that was my guiding light. I discovered more. I spoke with more people just to find out what are your thoughts, what do you think, and then just collecting this data. It helped me start unpacking what I had in mind. And I was privileged enough to work with then a consultant. I reached out to him. We were chatting, and I was like, I have this idea, but I don't even know how to go about it because it's not something I've done before. And he happens to be a very good person that understands how to transition or to bring your idea into services, make it realistic, and then provide value. So he literally guided me through that process and helped me just unpack everything I had in my mind, in my head, and yeah, guided me. So that was it for me. I had to also change the way I thought, to be honest, because it's one thing it's being a leader, another thing is being a coach. I think there's a skill to it. So you need to actually change your mindset and you need to learn how to do that. So it's been filled with a lot of learning. And just like you said, the discipline, though I didn't call that word, but the discipline across other aspects of life, I just implemented that the same discipline in getting into this phase where I can learn, unlearn, relearn, and then effectively communicate that to the people I work with to help them
Yeah.
become better and achieve their goals. Yeah.
Well, you needed good discipline, humility, communication skills, and you're just calm.
Mm.
Even how you speak, calm. I'm sure if we talk to your wife, it might there may be days she would say differently, but
No, I think she'll say the same thing.
the same thing is that you're just very
Yeah.
calm and you're at ease and comfortable with yourself. And I think you, um, only because I'm a woman of faith myself, like when you start off on a strong foundation and you know what what you're built on, what where your house is built on, what rock you're
Mm.
built on, it becomes so easy for you to become more calm with others, regardless of the situation. And it is a process and it is a learning experience as we navigate mastery of self, which is ever going on. And when I say mastery of self, mastering the emotions, that's a big, big
Yeah.
piece of it. Understanding who we are and all of these facets. When it came to your mind,
Mm.
you great at technology. You do
Yeah.
digitalization of documents and stuff like that's all you do. You digitalize it, right? I'm sure it's easy
Yeah.
for you, but for someone like me, I'm like, oh, why, right? How do you like what type of mind frame do you need to be in to go from digitalization,
Yeah.
AI, technology to now this human psychological subconscious
Mm.
mindset to really support your ideal clients, which I know it's everyone that, well, not everyone, it could be male, female, but generally, I'm sure men will connect with you because there's a lot of them who are in the technology space who might need that human understanding, that masculine connection. So, how did you move from that, and how do you support your clients? So, those two questions in one.
Yeah, no, very, very good questions. Um, the thing with people in technology, mostly if you've been a developer, we get so engrossed with what we are doing that sometimes you even forget. For some people, not everyone, but most people will acknowledge this. You forget the human side of things because you're so focused on delivery, right? And it takes, I think it takes a shift in understanding why you're even doing what you do in the first place to go out of that frame of mind. Why are we building technology? For people. Why are we having this podcast? For people. Everything we do, the technology, the inventions, all of that will be worthless without people. Why do we need money? It's so that we can buy things and define ourselves and people. We buy from people, we sell to people. So I think that realization, it dawned on me at some point. And then I said to myself, if all we do actually ties to people, then I need to look more into people, understand them, right? And
Yeah.
maybe that will even help me to build things that will help them better. One of the, I'll say the lies we tell ourselves sometimes is, well, I can do this without people. No, you can't. You're here because of people. Everything we do, whatever, how great you become, it is worthless if there are no people to experience that with you. So after spending some time just reflecting, I think when it dawned on me, then I started actively looking into the human side of everything, the human side of everything. Before this time, I could stay days in my room just writing codes or just reading technical books, but it was making me lose out on friendships with people. And my question was, why am I doing all these things if I cannot connect with them? And by the
Mhm.
time that switched, I started gravitating towards learn the technology, but connect with people and try to bring that together. And in the kind of role I do where it's a transformation, and any form of transformation you need to work on the minds of people actually, right? It's just like you said, it might look like it's a lot. It's not that. Trust me, if you go through the transformation journey, you will get it. You might not get every nitty gritty of it, but you will understand the concept and you'll be able to align with that. So when I came to that realization, it started helping me. And I'll say my need to make an impact beyond just things drove me into then learning how to work with my clients even better, right? So the people part led me to start rethinking technology, but I also had to develop my skills so that I can communicate effectively with my clients. And I can remember my wife giving me feedback on some sessions she overheard. She was like, "You need to talk more like a coach. Yeah, you need to coach more than tell, because that's what we do in the technology space sometimes. We tell, right? You don't coach, you don't, it's like, this is what it should be, this is it. But now you have to let people really tell you how they are feeling, what they are going through, and then you move them in the right direction. So when I work with my clients, it's a time for us to just, first of all, they need to trust you. You need to let them know that they're in a safe space, right? And it takes a lot to create that space when talking with people, and that is it's a very important skill everyone should learn, because if people don't feel safe, they won't speak up, and you can't help them even if you have the right tools to help them. So the way my program is even designed, we spend a lot of time understanding ourselves, our emotions, what we think before we talk tools and technology, right? So it becomes the foundational building blocks for every other thing to be built on.
Well, God bless your wife for helping you become a better man.
Yeah, no, she's
And so you
amazing.
can
She's
best
just
serve your
amazing.
clients. And not only your clients are benefiting, but the team that you're leading, um,
Mm,
they're also benefiting because now you've learned to listen more. And instead of speaking at someone, now as you're listening, now you can effectively guide them to
true.
navigate the path. It's like you're a human GPS for them. Like a GPS system, you go beep beep. That make a
Yeah,
left turn here. Make a left turn here. But I mean, all you can do as a GPS system is say, "Hey, I see something. You have to go this way or that way," and it's up to the people to decide if they're going to go straight, they go left, they go right, whatever
yeah.
decision they make. Um, so yeah, tell your wife she is her contribution to your work as a coach and as a leader
Mm,
really has exceeded the the results of what you're getting, because it's one thing to work with your friends who were seeing results. Most of them were men. They were willing to and open to receive what it is that you're giving. But when you have to work with people you don't know and you have to actually gain their trust
yeah,
and learn how to listen to them, it is it's different. It's challenging. And there's only a small amount of space. So in marketing or sales or anything, they would say you have to make the sale before you get on this call because you don't close this like the, the last part is more the formality of it, right? And then they
Yeah.
sign the contract. But before you can do that, you still have to, even though they trust you, you still have to build a relationship with
Indeed.
a client for them to fully open up and go deep down to get that transformation that they are looking for. So, thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Where do you see not only the coaching industry, because we all know it's $1 trillion industry and it's not going
Yeah.
anywhere anytime soon, but where do you see your coaching business, your level of service in the next 5 years?
Oh, very good one. And I love it when I hear questions like this. Um, so for me, I see the impact as way bigger, right? And I think it will evolve just beyond the coaching program to conferences where not just myself, but even others, large scale, come in to dish out their knowledge, right? I am just one person. I can reach a lot of people, but I look at the future and I see a space where you have thousands, if not millions, of people tuning in to actually listen to transformational um, strategies, tips, and just the way people who have learned along with myself just offer life changing, and I use the word life changing carefully, life changing information and ways to implement these things so that there is a true transformation because it's going to shape a lot of people how they think. People have a lot to offer, but they still struggle to find themselves. And the more people can hear about what I have to say and other coaches, I think it will create that ripple effect where people are thinking in a certain way. You're not afraid to be you. You're confident in your God given talent. You're confident in the things you have done. And when you don't know, you're not afraid to say, I do not know, but I'm willing to learn. So in 5 years, I look forward to a space where I can hold um, talk shows, large ones, conferences with people, and not just because of the number, but truly transforming people's lives, where someone talks with you or listen to what you have to say, and the person goes home energized, goes home believing, goes home full of excitement and motivation to keep going. So for me, that will be like a dream 5 years from now.
Well,
Yeah,
I think you're already there. It may not be on the scale that you want it to be, but you're essentially already there because people hear you. And I mean, even before you started coaching, you
yeah,
had someone come up, a destiny
indeed.
helper come up and say, "Hey, have you decided this?" Or, so it's happening. It's just now you want it on a larger scale.
Yeah.
There are many people who are saying similar things to what you have said about where they're taking their transformational coaching.
Yeah.
How is yours going to be different? What's that evolution of uh, transformational coaching for you versus others?
Very good one. So if I'm to speak on this, I'll say two main things. One is that ever learning mentality, right? There is no plateau when it comes to transformation. There is more. For most people, it's get to this level, you're good. For me, it's get to this level, enjoy it, move on to the next,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? So whatever level you find yourself, you're okay, you celebrate that, but there is more. And that more, it doesn't mean you have to keep working. I have to I have to make that clear. It's just new dimensions of knowledge, of fulfillment, of growth, so that when you speak as well, some other person listens. So for me, it's like a chain reaction. That's what I am trusting that will happen, where people uncover who they are, and they are able, from what I have passed to them, they are able to also pass that to other people. So it's not me always being there. It's even the people I've coached, being able to do that going forward, right? Um,
Mhm.
People will just move through that. And for me, so that ever learning, ever growing mindset is something I genuinely believe will set what I'm doing apart. And then secondly, really just collaborating with people, and which is what I mentioned. I'm not a fan of just doing it myself or by myself. I want to work with people because I feel together we will always be stronger, right? There are things I know, but there are things I don't know. And if there's someone who knows it, I want to partner, I want to collaborate. And our goal is always get people transformed, get people to the stage where they are impactful, they help themselves and help those around them. So ever learning and ever collaborating. For me, those are the two key things.
You know, those are very important ones, and most people say that. Um, do I believe you're going to do it? Absolutely. Only because we don't know each other that long, but from what I
Mm,
know of you, um, and just the understanding that I have about you, um, I see that. But I think you're missing a very key point.
mm,
You didn't mention it, but with your ever learning, just from the words that you use. So words are very important. Um,
mm.
and I love to know the meaning of words. So I just don't consume books for the sake of consuming books.
Yep.
I want to understand the actual meaning of words. And there are things that Wilson said when he was talking about ever learning. And if you're a reader or you have understanding of language, it doesn't matter what language you speak, just understanding of the meaning of words. He talked about new dimensions of learning. He's talking about elevating from where he is now to different realms of understanding what transformation means. We are in a time of conscious transformation, conscious buyers, conscious consumers, and we're shifting into that of the spiritual, which you can say whatever you want to say about that on its own. But to go even deeper, this is a man who opened up initially about his beliefs. He talked and weaved into how that's the foundation of it. And then he says, I'm going to take my business to new realms, new level, new dimensions. Dimensions is the word.
Yeah.
In order for anyone, me, you, anyone to take a business to new dimensions, you have to have not only a level, and I'm not saying a level of faith in yourself, a level of faith beyond you, a level of faith in your God. So that means, from what I'm understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
that this level of faith that you have and the dimensions you're going to take your business will far surpass anyone else's in your industry as you're growing. And you will attract, by God's grace, the collaborators, the destiny helpers to work with you to share this level of wisdom because you have to go back into the word where you started off to know how to get new dimensions. So, yes, great that Wilson's here talking freely and openly and very generally about the work that he's doing and the people that he's serving. But when you come across a coach, a mentor, a sponsor, anyone who's working with you, and you do not understand the level of faith that they have, then you will never know where they're going. So you don't know where they can take you. But he's telling you where he was, where he's going, and where he can take you. And I hope you're ready for that new dimension. So am I correct on that, Wilson?
No, no, you're spot on. And the reason why you understand even what I'm saying probably is because you're a person of faith as well, right? There are some terms I've used that if you're not a person of faith, you might struggle to um, understand the depth
Understand.
of what I'm talking. Yeah, talking about. And for me, it's not just about being the next big thing because that's life is way more than the next big thing.
Yeah.
It's about doing things that truly impacts my world. It's about doing things I believe that I am here to do, right? I genuinely believe, right? It can come in different ways, but I know what I have believed, let's put it that way.
That's right.
And
That's cool.
yeah, and I think it's something that the more you spend time reflecting, spend time with God, you get to understand a bit better. But the ability to I would say communicate that even not people that are not of faith can benefit from it. That's something I'm
Yes.
quite passionate about, right? So
Yes.
be it in technology, I will communicate what I believe through it, right? Without, and I hope it won't offend anyone, but that's what I believe generally, like, right? Everyone has something that is deposited in them. Everyone can contribute to the betterment of this world we live in. So instead of always talking about things that are not working, what can you do?
Mm,
If you go through that transformational journey, be it through my coaching program or maybe through another outlet, and you're able to understand fully that you're not just another random person, you're someone who has something to
yeah.
truly offer. I think it changes your worldview, and you truly want to serve, because if you've seen that change in yourself, why are you keeping it back to yourself? Help another person get to that level
Absolutely.
as well, and that
You
person
know
helps
who's
the next person. Yeah, so
sorry. No, I apologize.
yeah.
Myron Golden is exactly like that. He's a man of faith, and there are so many people who
Mhm.
are atheists who follow his teachings. And this man is he literally is reading the Bible. Like he takes it. He has millions and millions of people. He works with all the gold level, up level people. Like
Mhm.
he's up there. And but
Nice.
they follow it because and all his teachings is like he's like from the word. He's like, I built my business on the word. I'm teaching you coaching from the word. Zig Ziglar, the same way. He's a
Yeah.
motivational, I mean, God rest his soul. Les Brown, so many of them. John C. Maxwell, his whole coaching, his whole speaking, his whole business is built from the word. So,
Indeed.
anyways, that's all I wanted to say about that. Please share with us, Wilson, what does it mean for you to be a conscious leader?
What does it mean to be a conscious leader? I think even from the word, it gives it away. You have to be conscious yourself. You need to be very self-aware. Um, and maybe just another perspective to it. People think of leadership from a point of a title than what it truly is. And to be a conscious leader, you need to know that leadership is, if you can be a leader, whatever space you find yourself, what level you currently are, right? It doesn't have to come with a bogus CEO title or manager title. It's you being conscious that, okay, this is where I am. There are people I can help. There are people I know something, and I can take people to that level of knowledge, that level of success. You provide them the resources, the guidance, and then you show them what can be. Because leaders are very visionary, and to be a conscious leader, you need to also be a visionary person, right? This is where this team is. This is where this person is. This is where this business is. I want to take it from this to this. And then how do I move that? How do I move people? A shared vision. You don't lead. You're a leader when you lead people. So if you don't have a shared vision, you can barely be a conscious leader. So what does it take to be a conscious leader? You need to be conscious. You need to be clear on your vision, right? And you need to also listen to your people. You need to be an empathetic listener, not just an active one, but an empathetic one. You need to listen with empathy, because people are not on your level. They might not be on that level, and that's why you're there to lead them, right? So they might not always say the right things or do the right things, but you need to listen to what are they going through, and then help them consciously to move from, say, point A to point B. So to be a conscious leader, be conscious, have a vision, and be an empathetic listener.
I love it. I actually love it. How can we get in contact with you?
LinkedIn is the main platform you find me on, right? I have other places, but if you want to get in contact with me, please feel free to send a DM on LinkedIn, and I'll pick it up from there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Wilson, so very much for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your insight, and your vision for the future of transformational coaching, transformational leadership for not only the people of this generation, but the men in this generation who need this level of support. So I thank you for that.
No, thank you, and thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I look forward to all the people who will reach out, men, women. I'm open to talking with
Yes,
anyone. Let's just get this done. Let's help each other.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button, and drop a comment. Ask a question down below. Let Wilson know how this podcast, how his message has empowered you, encouraged you, and inspired you to take things to another dimension. Have a great day, and I'll see you on another episode of the Conscious Leader Podcast. Bye.